In the future, everyone will be world famous for 15 minutes. A quote commonly misattributed to Andy Warhol back in 1967 has found itself encompassing the attitudes and customs of the internet. No matter who you are, where you are in the world, if you exercise the tools you have at your disposal, you might just have your moment in the sun, even if it's literally for just a moment. Despite the World Wide Web's sole purpose to document everything, there are those instances where certain media and writings are just lost, completely drop off the face of the earth, even if they pertain to culturally significant events. A moment that catches everyone's attention can just be forgotten, preserved as an unchanged relic of the distant past. An event that would later prove to meet this fate would be a strange one that occurred all across YouTube. Millions of people logged on to YouTube.com and saw a visibly changed homepage. Some of the site's top creators had the thumbnails changed on their videos to a series of seemingly random images. The incident did not go unnoticed and began spreading around like a wildfire.
Hey, what's up you guys? So it is 7 in the morning and I really don't feel like making a video right now, but I have to because something's going on. YouTube got hacked.
I guess our CTFXT channel was hacked. Let's use hacked, loosely here.
My account had those as thumbnails. Fred's account had those as thumbnails.
Hey, it's Fred!
Jonas Brothers, Demi Lovato, and Selena Gomez, all Disney stars, got hacked, and whoever did it, I blame iCarly! No, it was you, Jeanette! They tried to spell the F word on all their pages. F-U-C, you can finish it.
Some of the famous people on YouTube's channels, their thumbnails on their videos changed.
That wasn't me. I don't even, see, this is what I think is happening, you guys. I don't know if this is either a hack or just a glitch. I'm gonna change all my passwords again. Gotta love drama, you guys, right?
For a couple of days, the hack was all people talked about, and then everyone just forgot, moved on, never to be spoken about in pop culture ever again. The complete lack of information on this case really stands out to me. It's like an artifact frozen in time, where only the most niche communities seem to remember it. If an incident of this magnitude had happened on YouTube today, it probably would have been national news. But in this case, content creators just laughed it off and went on with their lives. What makes this event particularly special to me is that, well, I was there. I had an active YouTube channel at the time, and I watched the entire thing unfold on my computer screen as it was happening. Christmas Day, 2009, YouTube got hacked.
Merry Christmas.
It is a shame that all these YouTube accounts were unjustly taken over by unauthorized parties. Too bad they didn't have Guardio to protect them, today's sponsor. Hello there. As we all know, there is nothing more important than protection, and Guardio is a browser extension for Chrome and Microsoft Edge that ensures your online presence is safe. Not only does it block 100 times more harmful websites than its competitors, it does so with complete transparency, telling you what was blocked and whether your information is at risk. Just simply install it and it will monitor your traffic 24/7, protecting you from things like malware, pop-up ads, phishing scams, fake shopping sites, and more. Now, of course, not being safe online leads you to a whole world of trouble. The other day, I got a message that the sheriff was on his way to arrest me unless I sent money to him. 2 lessons to be learned here. 1, don't take the tags off your mattress. And 2, be careful when opening strange emails. Anyway, I clicked on the link and thankfully Guardio blocked it from doing anything dangerous. And if you join the 1 million other people who also use Guardio, you can get real-time alerts sent to your phone if your information is ever breached or compromised, so you can take action right away. By visiting guard.io/nationsquid, you can sign up for Guardio with 20% off your subscription and get a free security scan. It only takes 30 seconds to install. After all, we all know why that one guy's computer froze, because he left his windows open. Don't be like him, download Guardio. Protect yourself online. For the fledgling YouTube community, it was your average Christmas evening. Amateur filmmakers released holiday specials for their growing audiences. One of the highest trending videos was a song called Christmas Cash by Fred, who just so happened to be one of the biggest channels on the whole site. Optimism was in the air, and people were excited about the direction YouTube was heading in. A new year, new decade, a new YouTube. But not everybody was done celebrating Christmas, as someone decided to leave one more gift for the community. Across the whole site, thumbnails were being changed on dozens and dozens of videos to a photo of musician Damo Suzuki. The reason why this was the image chosen remains to be seen, but it was more than that. Other thumbnails were changed to a Sanrio cartoon character called My Sweet Piano, Dr. Eggman from the Sonic cartoons, among other things. Although this mostly affected the top channels, typical everyday users were also hit with it. The hack seemed to target people indiscriminately. But of course, word got around when the big channels used their audiences to spread awareness about it. And then at that point, these thumbnail changes were quite easy to spot. Finding them almost became like a game. I actually remember a YouTube user I was friends with purposefully changing their profile picture to Damo Suzuki and started commenting weird cryptic messages on my channel. They certainly had me fooled. Now the first question on everybody's mind is probably the most obvious one. Why did this happen? Well, a lot of it has to do with just the kind of role YouTube had on the internet at the time. Yes, YouTube was the fourth biggest site on the web back in 2009, but the influence that such a feat had on the world was relative. Now don't get me wrong, the internet was still very big, but it was still much smaller than it is today. Now I could sit here and just throw numbers at you and talk about market share percentages, but the answer to this question does go much deeper than that, and these numbers do reflect how the internet was both perceived and used. What I'm trying to say is, the internet really wasn't taken all that seriously. There was way less regulation and way less care. Just think about how easy it was to find a free movie on YouTube. Of course, these had to be divided into multi-part increments because of YouTube's 10-minute duration limit, which was an attempt to combat copyrighted content. But still, it didn't stop anybody. YouTube just didn't have the resources, the voice, or even the technology it does now to fight the pure anarchy that was present during the adolescent stages of the internet. And some innocuous form of hacking wasn't the exception. Sure, we have seen multiple demonstrations in the past, even dating as far back as the 90s, where hacking or some form of manipulating a secured network has led to prosecution. But in those cases, some form of significant damage to the network's infrastructure was caused, whether it was physical hardware or a huge loss in revenue. Given that such acts caused huge devastation which compromised many businesses' abilities to operate, and in some cases even harmed individual users, of course people would be quick to go after these perpetrators seeking some form of retribution. But this particular instance with YouTube was quite different. Thumbnails were changed, and well, that's about it. YouTube didn't crash, money wasn't lost, no YouTuber careers were ruined. Things just went on as usual. All it did was just raise a ton of eyebrows. It was a victimless act that didn't really cause harm at all. More or less an online version of the Max Headroom incident. In fact, the YouTube community itself didn't even take it seriously. A lot of them just thought it was funny, perceiving it more as a crude joke rather than a legitimate threat.
Oh, you know what might be fun? The picture of the guy that everybody's using for the thumbnail, leave a caption for it, because I can think of like 12 right off the top of my head.
Some people even kept their changed thumbnails to this very day, wearing it almost as a badge of honor. Hey, I was also a part of this strange event that will inevitably go down in online history. A reaction like this is a good example of how the internet was not only a bit carefree in practice, but also in spirit. I mean, the rest of the world doesn't take us all that seriously, so why worry about it? No community exemplified this very mindset better than the one that was not only slowly taking over YouTube, but also could have even been directly responsible for this hack.
Because YouTube it's where the proof is.
As I'm sure all of you are familiar with now, YouTube poops are those strange edits of movies, TV shows, just about any form of media you can think of. They use sentence splicing,
Stole my free study.
weird visual effects, to essentially create new content out of it for comic relief, a term that academic scholars would later coin as shitposting. While this type of content is now typically seen on those meme-related web pages, YouTube poops were all the rage in 2009, and they had a much stronger grip on the site as a whole. YouTube poop channels were a dime a dozen and essentially perpetuated the viral video stereotype that a lot of mainstream media perceived. A lot of these YouTube poop videos were edits of Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, Legend of Zelda, a lot of the type of content that was associated with the thumbnails that were changed, so people just kind of put two and two together. If it was anyone who did the hack, it would be the community solely dedicated to fooling around and trying to get a laugh out of people. But of course, this is just a theory, and nothing has ever been confirmed. So then, who did it? Now I do want to make something very clear before we continue. These videos that I make, whether they're about computer viruses, stories from the web, etc., they are exactly that, just videos, meant to educate and entertain. They are not meant to be exposés or to vilify anyone involved in these stories in any way, shape, or form. That is not what my channel is about, I am not interested in that, and I just wouldn't have a good conscience making content like that. These videos come from a place of pure fascination, of wanting to learn more, and wanting to showcase how much the internet has changed and continues to change. This goes for all my videos, past, present, and future. So, to answer the question, who did it? Well, sorry to disappoint you, but we don't know. There are theories, but they honestly just don't hold much water, and due to how little about the event has survived, there's just not enough concrete evidence to be definitive. And frankly, it would be unfair of me to drag people into this who may or may not be involved and who are otherwise now living normal lives. So that's just it, we simply don't know. But even then, I don't think the identity of who did it really matters. I think the more interesting question is how they did it. As we've mentioned, so little from this strange incident has survived. Pretty much only speculation can be made. Shortly after the hack occurred, a video was uploaded to YouTube from someone claiming responsibility, showing how they did it. Unfortunately, this video was deleted many years ago and is now lost. So I started to think about what the possibilities were, and my initial thought was that the hacking must have been done through the most common and obvious means, by obtaining a user's password. Keep in mind that in 2009, two-factor authentication did not exist yet on YouTube. On top of that, you signed in with your username, not your email address, so if you wanted to hack into your favorite content creator's YouTube account, all you had to do was type in their channel name and somehow figure out their password. But how would someone pull that off? Well, that's what I had trouble figuring out. But then something popped out at me when I watched a video from Shane Dawson. In his video reacting to the incident, Shane talks about how a series of strange emails had been going around the site, including one he received himself claiming to be from YouTube.
YouTube sent me an email. And it was really weird. It was spelled wrong and it was like weird. So I wrote back, I'm like, who is this YouTube? But when I wrote back, the subject said to, it was like 358 something at hoaxmail.com. So they're using YouTube's email and sending out, and it's not them. It's all crazy.
So why is this important? Well, it is possible that these YouTube accounts were hacked through the use of a phishing email. Whether it's an email pretending to be a famous YouTube star or the site itself, these types of emails establish a false sense of credibility, which can lead to the targeted user revealing sensitive information, such as passwords. Once they have that password, they can log in and change that user's thumbnails however they please. But while this was a big lead, I was still not fully convinced. The thing is, Shane never mentioned anything about falling for these emails or accidentally leaking his password, and neither did other creators who spoke out about it. It was just a total surprise that popped up out of nowhere. If it just so happened that all these creators were fooled into giving out their passwords by these emails, I think we would have heard about that, and a lot more awareness would have been spread. But that just didn't happen. So if it wasn't the phishing emails, how could this person have logged into all these accounts? Well, as I dug further into my research, I found something that I think might be the smoking gun and the closest possible thing to an answer that we will ever get, unless new information comes out. Chances are, they didn't even log in at all. Let's take a quick look back at my previous video about MySpace. Sammy Kamkar was able to completely change people's web pages without ever having to sign in to their accounts. This was done through something called cross-site scripting, which effectively allows you to find loopholes that can circumvent the security features on a website. Hacking without hacking. And I think it's possible that something very similar could have happened with these thumbnails on YouTube. Everything started to come together when I came across a channel called McMangoes, a popular YouTube poop channel at the time. They were also affected by the hack, and they, like many others, did a video reacting to it. Well, at the top of their screen, you can see all the configuration settings for their channel. Now, why does this matter? Well, if you were in the YouTube Partner Program, and I distinctively remember this, there was a fifth option called Branding Options, where you could add your own channel banner, merch store, all of that. In 2009, only YouTube partners could have customized video thumbnails. If you weren't a partner, you just had to use the one YouTube gave you. I also took a look at the hacked video in question, and that image of Damo Suzuki is nowhere to be seen. Just from the channel settings at the top, I could tell immediately off the bat that McMangoes was not a YouTube partner. So how did their thumbnail change? Even if someone did log into their account, they didn't have access to that feature. The only likely explanation would be that this was done through some kind of thumbnail exploit that was present on YouTube that just hadn't been patched yet. Maybe, much like the MySpace worm, these thumbnails were able to be changed through some kind of cross-site scripting that didn't require signing in to that user's account. But since the source code for 2009 YouTube is pretty much long gone, it's hard to determine what exactly this vulnerability was. We may just never know. But either way, this event would go down as the ultimate YouTube poop. As you would have guessed, after the hacking took place, things quickly went back to normal. People had their laugh and they just moved on and forgot about it. Quite literally. Aside from some obscure online communities that have occasionally referenced it, the incident was never really mentioned in mainstream media ever again, which is a bit of a shame, because I think stories like this show just how much we've grown as a community on YouTube. We've grown technologically and in the way that we think. We take the internet much more seriously now, but maybe sometimes too seriously. There are those few cases where something can initially appear as a threat, but at the end of the day, it's all just fun and games, with this instance being one of them. It's the opportunity for us to do better and to improve on whatever it is we're already doing. And even if the story itself gets forgotten, its after effects aren't. So, to the mysterious thumbnail hacker of 2009, whoever you are, thank you for the laughs, and thank you for doing your part in making the internet a better place for all of us. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and click the notification bell so that you never miss a future video.